Yeah, I think it might be time to replace this poor old workbench. It has seen a lot of projects. So I don't know, what do y'all think? Should we replace it? What should we do with this old thing? Hello, my darling friends. Welcome back. It is so good to see all of you. I hope you've had a good week. I really hope you're all staying well and healthy and are happy. I don't know about y'all, but I'm getting a little bit of spring fever. Just a little, just a small tinge of it. It's been so beautiful and so sunny here in the Pacific Northwest these last couple of weeks. It's really cold outside, but the sun is shining and it just makes me want to be outside and kind of gives me that little bug for just, some spring fever and a little bit of gardening. But I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because it is still winter, it's still cold, and I can't get out there and do any of the gardening because the ground is frozen solid. So we're going to jump into a fun indoor project today. Okay, y'all, so I think my workbench, this poor old thing, it needs some TLC. And I really did kind of, at first, I was looking at it going, yeah, this is just really looking old and we can fix this. And I know I can fix it. However, because I could probably just sand the whole top down and make it look all shiny and beautiful and new again. However, it's kind of big and you can't really see my whole studio right now, but it is pretty large. It takes up quite a bit of space. So I have a few ideas on how I think I can make a new workbench that will be just as functional. It'll look really pretty and shiny and new, but be just a little bit smaller. So let's head out to the wood shop because I do have some ideas, but we need to run out there and see if I can implement my ideas and make it work. So let's head out to the workshop and see what kind of trouble we can get into out there. Okay, y'all, so here is my thinking. I got a new dining room table at Christmas time, and this is the tabletop to my old dinette set. And y'all, this thing has got so many memories. It's very sentimental to me because I purchased this table when my son was 2 and he is now 40. So this thing has seen so many family dinners. We've played a multitude of games around this table. We've had amazing conversations sitting around this table, and we've crafted on this table. It just has so many fun memories, and I could not bring myself to part with it, to get rid of it. So my wheels started turning, and I thought, okay, let's just turn this into my new workbench. I think this will be a perfect fit for the studio. It's a little shorter this way, so it'll help give the illusion of opening up some space in my studio and just making things feel just a little bit bigger in there. So the first thing I need to do to tackle this project is get this sanded down. I would really like to try and sand this down to its original wood, which is oak. I do believe this is a solid oak table. And I know, my family came at me when I painted this black. So, and now here I am several years later wanting to bring it down to its natural wood. So that's what we're going to work on first. I'm going to break out the sander and we're just going to start sanding. Oh my gosh, y'all, it is so cold out here in the shop right now. I have the heat running, but I don't think it's really accomplishing much. It's really cold, so I don't know how long I'm going to last out here today, but I am going to work as long as I can stand the cold on getting this sanded. So I am going to first start with a 60 grit sandpaper and work on this. And some of you are probably asking me, why didn't I just use stripper? Well, mostly because I cannot open the bay door right now because it's just too cold, and with stripper you've got to have good ventilation. So I'm just going to try sanding it and see what happens. I'm the one that painted this, and this is what was called a a smear technique so the paint isn't super thick. So fingers crossed this is going to sand off relatively easy. Oh, well, I've only been sanding for about 15 minutes and look how much I've gotten done already. So this might end up going way faster than I originally thought, which will just, oh, did you see that dust? Which will make me so happy. So I'm just gonna keep working on this for a little while and keep sanding, and I am really happy with the exposed wood so far. It is a little on the orange side, so when it's time to refinish, we might have to address that because I don't like the orangish tone wood. So, but I'm just gonna keep sanding because this is going a lot faster than I originally thought that it would. So here we go. Let's just sand, sand, sand. My gosh, y'all, it's done. I got the whole top sanded. It took me about 40 minutes. I cannot believe how easy that sanded off with just a 60 grit. Love, love, love that for me. Okay, so it is looking really, really good. And I was able to sand a lot of the orange out of this as well. So I don't know, this might end up looking really, really good. So because I've only been working for 40 minutes, I'm just gonna keep going, and now I've gotta work on getting all of the edges done and this part of the skirting done as well. And then I'm gonna be ready to put on a new finish and some new legs. I'm so excited that this is going so smoothly. Fingers crossed it keeps going that way. Okay, I finally got all of the sanding done with the 60 grit. The top is finished. I got all of the edges done and the skirting is sanded. The edges and the skirting did take a little bit longer. The top took about 40 minutes. The edges and the skirting took about an hour to an hour and 15 to do. It is all finished now, and now I'm ready to move on to my higher grit. I'm gonna move up to a 120 grit now. And a little hack. When you are sanding, after you've done your initial sanding with your 60 grit, you're ready to start moving up in your grits to smooth everything out and get that beautiful silky finish. A little hack, take your shop pencil and draw some super feather light lines across your board. Start in one corner. What I did is started one corner and made squiggles all the way across the board from side to side, all the way down to the other corner. The reason we do this is because it is a little bit of a myth that when you are sanding with your higher sand grits, if you just keep sanding and sanding and sanding and sanding and sanding, it's a myth that you're actually accomplishing anything. The trick to know when you are finished and when you've actually accomplished all that you can accomplish with that grit is when all your pencil lines have disappeared from your project. So you don't want to give yourself any extra work. It's not necessary to work yourself to death sanding. The only thing that you have to remember when using this little hack is do not press into your surface with your pencil, or you're going to leave little indents, and then you've defeated the whole purpose of this little hack. So make sure when you draw your squiggle lines that you do it with a feather light touch so that no indents from the lead get left in your surface. Okay, y'all, so now I'm ready to go ahead and start sanding with my 120 grit. I'm going to get that done, and then I'll move to 220 and then 320, and then we will be ready to put some color or a stain. Not color. I don't think I'm going to do like paint color because I just sanded all that off, but I am definitely going to do a stain. It's just a matter of choosing what stain color I want. So I'll go ahead and get the surface, finish sanding, get it silky, silky smooth and ready for some stain. Oh my gosh, y'all, this is so smooth. It's just like silk. So I've gone over this with 60 grit to get all of the finish off. Then I did a 120, then a 220, and then a 320. And oh my gosh, it is silky smooth, silky, silky smooth. I am just absolutely loving how this feels. So our next step now is to clean this up really, really good. I'm going to just take some tack cloth over the top of all of this, give it a really good cleaning, and then I have to make a decision, y'all, as to whether or not I want to stain this. To be perfectly honest, I am loving the way this looks. I love this just natural wood color. It is a little on the yellow side, and there are still a few spots on it that are kind of still reading a little orange. But for the most part, I think it is super beautiful exactly the way it is. So I have a really big decision to make now. Do I stain it or do I just seal it with some good old-fashioned wax or a good oil? So I think what I'm going to do now is just go sleep on it, decide whether or not I want to put some stain color on this or leave it its natural wood. So I'm going to sleep on it and I will see y'all tomorrow. Good morning, friends. I hope you all had a nice evening. So yesterday we spent a whole lot of time, a couple hours, sanding down this tabletop. And now I've slept on things a little bit because I was really, really struggling with the color that I wanted to put on this, because I don't want a lot of color. I actually want it to stay as close to this natural color as I can possibly get it. So we did a little research, and Michael and I have been wanting to try this Rubio Monocoat product for a really, really long time. So we went and did some shopping, and what we settled on was 2 colors. This stuff is very, very expensive. So fingers crossed that I'm going to like at least one of these, because we paid quite a bit of money for this. So anyway, we settled on Pure, which is kind of just like a clear coat, really. It's just kind of a clear coat sealer. And then I got the color Mist, because Mist is supposed to be really good for oak and help maintain its natural coloring with just some hints of gray streaks in it. So we're going to go ahead, open these up, do a couple of test swatches, and see what happens. Fingers crossed this is going to work, and then I'm going to like one of these because, like I said, these buggers were expensive. Okay, y'all, so I've been reading the directions on this, and this Rubio Monocoat comes with a two-part product. So it has your oil, this is an oil-based product, so it has your oil coloring, and then it has an accelerant. Now you do not actually have to use the accelerant on this. If you choose not to though, your cure time is going to be about 25 to 27 days. The accelerant gives you a cure time of about 7 to 10 days. So, and however, it is dry within 48 hours. So we will be able to put our legs and stuff on after 48 hours of this sitting on it. However, it won't be fully cured for about 7 to 10 days. So I think what I'm going to do for just my test swatches is I'm just going to test the color pure without the accelerant, because if I don't even like one of these, there's no point in doing this whole mixology thing. So, and it is a 3-to-1 mix. So you do 3 parts of the actual color and 1 part of the accelerating. But for right now, I'm just going to go ahead and open these up and just do a little teeny tiny test swatch to see what color I want to go with. So, okay. So I don't know if y'all can see this. Let me bring this close up. This is the mist, and this is just the regular pure clear. So this is going to be interesting. Oh, darn it. I'm so clumsy. All right. And from what we were told at the supply place that we went to, very little tiny bit of this goes a really long ways. So let's go ahead and do a little test swatch of the clear. This is just the plain clear. And yep, it's really bringing out the orange in this oak. So I don't think I'm gonna like that. I'm gonna go ahead and swatch this mist one real quick. Huh, I can't really tell the difference. Well, I really can't tell the difference between the two. They both look exactly the same to me. So, I'm not sure which one I'm going to go with, y'all. Maybe the mist. The mist does have just a tiny bit of color, but again, both of them are just really bringing out the orange in this wood. So, I don't know. I don't know, y'all. Oh my goodness. Decisions, decisions, decisions. Okay, y'all. So, here's a little close-up of the two colors together. This is the clear, the pure. This is the mist. And honestly, y'all, there's not a lot of difference between the two colors. However, I do feel like the pure is bringing out more of the orange, where the mist seems to be a little bit more muted. It's not quite as yellowy orange-ish. So I think I'll probably end up going with the mist. This is such a hard decision to make, because honestly, I'm not sure that I'm too keen on either one of the colors. And I don't want to have to sand this thing all over again. But it does have to have some kind of sealer on it, because I'm going to be using it in the studio as my workbench. So because we spent the money on these and we have them sitting here, I think I'm going to go ahead and go with the mist color. So we will just set to work getting this thing stained. Okay, y'all, so here's where I'm at. I let that Rubio sit on here for about a half an hour, and then I came back out here and I buffed it just, that's because that's what the directions said to do. So I buffed it all off with just a nice clean cloth. It is still a little wet, but here's where I'm at. I don't like it. I'm just not really liking this yellowy orange color. So I had an idea. I do not know if it's even going to work, but I ran in and grabbed my antiquing wax, and I am going to pour just a teeny tiny bit of it in here and deepen this just a little to get to maybe this will neutralize some of the orange. I'm not going to put very much. I'm literally just putting a little bit in here. But I'm hoping that maybe it will neutralize the orange a little bit. Okay, y'all, so I'm just gonna do a teeny tiny test swatch just right here in this corner. Okay, let's see what happens. Oh, absolutely nothing. Okay, well that did nothing. Absolutely nothing. So now I'm wondering if I just try to put a little of this on here. By itself. Oh, yeah, that kind of neutralizes the orange just a little bit. So I'm wondering, I don't know, y'all. I just don't know. Well, y'all, I'm kind of in it now because I did a pretty big test swatch with the antiquing wax. So I think I'm going to go over the entire table with just a light coat of the antiquing wax, and then I'm going to call it. I'm just going to have to learn to love it, I think. So that's just the nature of oak. You know, oak is just a very yellowy wood by nature. And so, yeah, I think just by adding a little bit of the antiquing wax, we're going to neutralize some of that yellow just a bit, and then I'm going to live with it. So let's go ahead and add some antiquing wax and see what we end up with. Well, y'all, it's finished. Well, it's not finished. It needs to have some cure time and some setup time, but it's just is what it is at this point. I'm really not super excited about this because I just am not a big fan of the color. Even with the antiquing wax, it's still, I'm still seeing a lot of that orange in here. And I'm hoping that over time, I'm going to learn to just love it. It does need to have a little cure time. It's not too bad though, because nothing's coming off on my hand really. So, okay, so next step is to add some legs to this. So my thinking for the legs on this piece is I wanted to buy some legs that would make it a standing or a sitting desk. So, or workbench. It's really going to be my workbench in the studio. So I purchased some legs on Amazon that are electronic that can go up and down. So I'm going to go ahead and unbox those and take a look at all of the hardware and see, just kind of, get a feel for everything I'm going to need to assemble the legs to the table. I have gone ahead and unboxed all of the leg pieces and parts, and oh my gosh, there are so many pieces and parts here. So I am just going to tackle this step by step by step, just one step at a time. So let's get these legs assembled so we can attach it to the desk, because that's the part that I am the most excited about. Well, okay, y'all, so I got the legs built. They were actually relatively easy to put together. I do have a problem though. They don't fit this table. So, and I have it at the shortest setting, lengthwise from here to here that it can possibly go. and it's a little long. So I think I'm going to have to do a little jerry rigging here. And I was hoping I wasn't going to have to do that. I really was hoping I could just simply attach it to the table and be done with it. But I'm going to have to do some jerry rigging. You know, it's just the way it goes with all these fun DIY projects, right? So because of the shape of this table, and well, and you know, when I bought these legs, I measured and I measured and I measured and I measured, and according to the specs, it should fit. So I'm going to just spend a little time contemplating this. I might have to pull Michael in for this project because he's got the engineering brain, and I'm sure he'll be able to come up with a very quick, easy solution to fix this. So I'm going to wait for him to get home, and then we'll tackle this little problem. Okay, y'all, so Michael got home, and like I knew he would, he came up with an amazing solution. So we're going to take these wood pieces, because this table, the guts that are in this, we can't take them out because they're the guts that like open it up to like extend the tabletop. And I don't want to take them out because it's one of those really cool gear things in there. So we are going to take this piece of wood, cut some of the edges off of it to round it out a little bit, and that way it'll kind of fit with the contour of the table here, and hopefully you won't see it hanging over on the edge. That's kind of the ideal plan. So we're going to take this over to the scroll saw and the sander and just cut that down a little bit, and hopefully that's going to be enough to make this work. Day 3 of this table build, y'all. This has been a lot of fun. It's been a bit of work, I won't lie about that, but it's been fun too. This has been a really neat project, and I am over the moon with the results. So last night, I got all of the parts and the pieces jerry-rigged so that we could make those legs fit onto the tabletop, and it worked. We got it all done. It's all assembled, and I'm excited. I'm very excited. So this morning, Michael and I brought it into the studio, and it is looking really good, y'all. I am so happy with the results. I'm especially loving that it really did give me a lot more room in here. It opened up this space so much more, and now I don't feel so squished and crowded in here, because that drafting table that I had, it was amazing and I loved it. It was just so big. This is a little smaller, so you know, bigger projects I might have to just put the leaf in or something and figure that out. But I think we're gonna be able to work with this, make it work. I'm still not super keen on the color, but it's growing on me a little bit. I mean, I know as I spend more time with it, you know, over the next several weeks, it's gonna grow on me. I know it will. So, all right, friends, so let's take a final look at the whole piece put together and styled in the studio. For this week, we wrapped this up nicely, and I enjoyed this so much. I had a blast working on this piece for the studio. It was a lot of work, but it was fun work for me, and I feel good about the results. This tabletop is going to make a great addition to the studio space. I know I'm going to enjoy it, especially having a little bit more room to walk around in here. So that's my favorite part. And I also love that the tabletop can go from a standing to a sitting desk or sitting to standing. I love that component as well. So if you are interested in creating a really cool workbench for your craft room or your studio space, I will have all of the supplies that we used to create this listed in the description box for y'all. So If you feel inspired, go check that out. And I hope it inspired y'all. I really do. I hope you had fun hanging out with me and just going through this whole process with me. It was a ton of fun, and I'm so glad that y'all were here with me. So that's it. That wraps it up, and I look forward to seeing you all again next week. As always, I've got some fun things coming your way. So y'all come back, see me again next week. Until then, take care, and I will see y'all soon. Bye.
I think we should play with this a little bit, don't you? To go down, it's pretty quiet. The motor on it's smooth too. I like this. Back up we go. That's pretty cool. I like it.
Is my head cut off? And how many times do I have to say sew? Sew a needle pulling thread. Why do I have to do that? Why do I say, okay, friends? That's just a weird way to segue into something. There's gotta be a better word. I think we could try that again and do a little bit better. I keep thinking I need to say more, but what more is there to say other than